Welcome, food and fitness lovers, to Tina's Ageless Kitchen. I'm Chef Tina Martini. You might know me as the Medicine Chef. Welcome, food and fitness lovers, to Tina's Ageless Kitchen. I'm Chef Tina Martini. You might know me as the Medicine Chef. Now, today we're going to do an interesting combination of cultures that I think are really going to work out well. The first thing we're going to start with is Chow Chow. Now, Chow Chow, in different families, different recipes, and different ideas. So I'm going to show you one that I learned from a Southern friend of mine that's really more like an ice water coleslaw, a mayonnaise-less coleslaw, if you will. So the first thing we want to do is shred up a head of green cabbage. Now, this will release a lot of water. So before you start your chow chow, you may want to salt the cabbage, put it in a colander in a bowl, and let some of the liquid drain off. But I think that we're going to be okay just kind of speeding up the process. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is make the dressing that we're actually going to cook the chow chow in. So I've got some apple cider vinegar. Now, apple cider vinegar, and I happen to be using the raw apple cider vinegar, is really showing promise with treatment of high blood pressure. And what the apple cider vinegar does is it relaxes the vascular system, and that way our blood flows more effortlessly, thus bringing down the blood pressure. You can take a half a teaspoon or so in a glass of warm water, preferably. Cold water works, but warm water will carry it into the digestive tract a little better. You're going to drink that, and you'll notice really quickly that the blood pressure starts to come down. So we've got our apple cider vinegar. I'm just going to turn our heat up just a little bit. Now, I'm going to use quite a bit of the vegan sugar, and what that means is that no animal processes have been used to bleach the sugar or change the color, which is great news. We don't need a lot of processing going on. Now, you're going to use quite a bit of sugar for this, but we're going to drain the dressing off later. So it's really what we're doing is making a gas streak, and that's just sugar and vinegar. And we're going to blend that together until the sugar dissolves. We're just going to cook that down. Let's add our mustard seed, a little bit of dry mustard, which is going to give a nice kick to the dressing. I've got a little bit of celery seed, and I'm going to go ahead and put some purple onion in there just to flavor the dressing a little bit more. Now remember, anything the color of blood purifies the blood. The purple onion is high in something called anthocyanins. And again, anthocyanins really work with the vascular system. So back to what we said about the apple cider vinegar lowering the blood pressure, the purple in the purple onion are going to strengthen the veins and strengthen the vascular system. So you could say that really this is a great heart healthy blood pressure lowering recipe that's going to be great with a lot of different dishes. I'm going to put just a pinch of some sea salt in. And we've got some turmeric. Now, turmeric says it all in the name. Tumors, ick. And turmeric really helps to eliminate the growth of tumors. It also adds a great bright color to our salad or our chow chow. Now, we're just going to bring that up to a boil. Let's go ahead and kick the flame up just a little bit more and get that really working. Now, what we're going to do is release the essential oils in all of the spices and herbs that we're using. So that's why we want to bring it up to a boil first. I've got a little bit of ground ginger, and ground ginger really good medicine, strengthening our digestive tract, increasing absorption of our nutrients, and all of that, I'm sure you'll agree, is very important. So let's go ahead and let that come up to a boil and talk about the other veg that we're going to use. We've already got our purple onion in. Now, this is some red diced bell pepper. Green bell pepper is really great as well for that authentic flavor. However, a lot of people can't digest the skin on the green bell pepper, so I've chosen red today. You could use orange and yellow as well. Now, this shows us carotenoids, and that is real medicine that helps protect our skin from aging. So the red bell pepper happens to be a really good anti-aging food, along with the vitamin C content. Red bell pepper is one of the highest foods in vitamin C. What does vitamin C do? Well, it strengthens the immune system. It manages damaged tissue and actually helps to mend traumatized tissue. It also oxygenates the blood. And by oxygenating the blood, we become more aerobic. Now, I'm sure those of you that work out in the gym know what aerobic is. It means with oxygen. And what does that do, chefs? It helps us be more efficient in burning body fat. So I'm going to go ahead and add in our red bell pepper. And I'm going to add in our shredded cabbage. Pure medicine here with our shredded cabbage, gang. It's a cruciferous, and we've talked about those before. One of my favorite groups of phytonutrients. Now let's go ahead and just get this evenly distributed. I'm going to change over to a spoon here and just kind of coat that cabbage and get all the veg working in there. Now the cabbage, again, being a member of the cruciferous, contains something called sulforaphane. Now sulforaphane is the reason the cabbage smells. And I know you know when you cook broccoli, you smell that kind of stinky smell as well. That again is the sulforaphane, or the stink in the cabbage, that gives it its medicine. So really be happy about that smell, because it's what's really going to protect you against particularly hormone-based cancers. Now, what in the world is a hormone-based cancer? Well, prostate cancer, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and actually we now know that lung cancer is a hormone-based cancer as well. So what do we need to do? We need to protect the hormone receptors from damage, and cabbage is one of the best ways for us to do that. And we've brought our dressing up to a low boil, and we're going to simmer that cabbage and the other veg, just again to release those flavors, get the oil in the seeds to release into the dressing, and that way everything can work together to bring about all the beautiful flavors. And we need to let something like this marry. So I suggest that once you cook this off, you put it in the refrigerator and let it chill for about 4 or 5 hours. Then we'll drain the dressing away, and you'll have the beautiful chow chow that can be used as a relish or as a coleslaw on the side of your favorite entree. So now we've got all of our chow chow ingredients in. We've brought this up to a low boil. I'm going to just let this cook for just a few minutes. We're going to put that in a bowl and chill it down for 4 to 5 hours. At that point, we'll drain the dressing off, and our chow chow will be ready as an accompaniment for your favorite meat or entree, or as a relish over your entree. And I'll show you a couple different uses when we come back. I'm going to get cleaned up. I'll see you in a minute. All right, and we're back. We're ready to take a trip down to the Caribbean. What's better than some jerk spiced shrimp? Now, jerk is different with every family. So if you look it up on the internet, you're going to find a lot of different spices that make up a jerk rub. Now, we're doing a dry rub, chefs, and what does that mean? Well, that means that all the spices that we're using are dry. There is a wet rub, however, that you can do in using fresh garlic, fresh Scotch bonnets, and that kind of thing. But we're going to go ahead and use the dry spices. I really enjoy dry rubs because it makes a nice crust on whatever you're using it on, and this would be beautiful on pork, on chicken. You could put it on a tofu steak if you were vegan. We always want to give those options. All right, so I've got some cleaned shrimp here. Now, what does shrimp have that's good for us? Because it kind of has a bad reputation. Remember that shellfish is very high in selenium. Selenium is a mineral that really is a powerful weapon against cancer. But more than anything, what happens, chefs, when we cook the shrimp? It turns pink, right? What does that mean? Well, what that means is that it's loaded with something called astaxanthin. And astaxanthin is a very powerful antioxidant that helps sweep toxins out of the body. So go ahead and indulge in that beautiful shrimp, crab, lobster. It's all turning pink when it's done. It lets us know so we don't overcook. And it also is loaded with that astaxanthin, that powerful antioxidant. All right, let's put our spices together. So I've got some granulated garlic, thyme, I've got cinnamon. Remember, cinnamon and clove here, allspice, those are all Mother Nature's antibiotics, and those are going to keep bacteria from adhering to our mucal tissue. Now remember, chefs, when bacteria can't set up a shop in our body, it can't do us any harm. So these spices are actually part of our medicinal nutrition program. All right, I've got some really nice molasses sugar, or the really dark brown sugar, and I'm just going to sweep all of the spices right into a little bowl. Let's go ahead and just dump and stir really fast and easy. I just wanted you to see all the different spices. I'm putting in some smoked paprika. Now, normally the jerk would have regular paprika, which is more sweet, but I really like that smoky flavor. So let's just get all of those beautiful things in. Now, I talked about allspice just a minute ago, and allspice, again, one of Mother Nature's antibiotics. Let's go ahead and get our pan hot. Remember, chefs, you want your pans waiting for you. You don't want to wait for your pan. So I'm going to kick that heat up and get some grapeseed oil working. Grapeseed oil, our arterial roto-rooter, also loaded with some powerful antioxidants. Now the shrimp is cleaned. I'm going to leave the tail on because it's going to give a little bit more flavor, and it's also going to give us a handle to hang on to if we want to just pick it up. All right, so all of that's ready to go. Let's mix our dry rub with all of our powerful spices. I've got some red pepper flakes in here, and again, I'm using the smoked paprika, which will give a nice smoky flavor to the shrimp, but the traditional, again, has the sweet paprika. All right, so we're all mixed up really well. Nice dose of iron from our molasses in our brown sugar. And now let's just take our shrimp and we're going to dip it in. Now remember what the great Julia Child shared with us. If you want your meat to brown, or any kind of protein like this to brown up, you need to make sure that it's dry. So I patted it with a little paper towel just to remove any excess moisture. Let's go ahead and throw the shrimp in. Let's just dump them all in and mix it up. That's going to be nice and fast for us. Use your hands. Those are the best tools, aren't they, chefs? All right. So this is going to sit in here for just a minute and get that crust set. Our grapeseed oil is heating. Again, make sure your pans are waiting for you. This is looking good, smelling good. You can smell the cloves. Again, one of Mother Nature's antibiotics. I'm going to go ahead and throw the last half of our shrimp in and just mix that around. Remember to use a little bit of pressure with your dry rubs, because one of the reasons, again, that we're using the dry rub is so that it makes a nice crust on whatever we're searing. Okay, looking good here. I think you'll agree that we've got some nice color on the shrimp. And we're ready to pan sear. Now you certainly could put this on a sheet pan and bake it in the oven for a few minutes if you needed to get something else done. I do like the pan sear on the shrimp, however. All right, I'm just going to sprinkle just a little bit more of the dry rub on, and we're ready to go. And as I said before, how do we know when our shrimp is done? Well, it's going to turn pink, isn't it? So it has an automatic timer in it for us. All right, I'm going to lay this right in the hot pan. Work quickly, you guys, because this is just going to take a minute. Oh boy, the aromas from all of those different spices, cinnamon and the red pepper flake. All right, chefs, remember to work quickly here because the shrimp's only going to take a couple minutes on each side. I'm going to wipe my hands off just a little bit and clean that up. Let's use our tongs and just flip that shrimp over. Make sure you start from where you started so that everybody's cooking evenly. Move your pan around if you've got any sticking going on. You can see that we're already turning pink, and oh boy, the aroma is absolutely beautiful. Come here, you. That shrimp's trying to escape. Now, if you really wanted to kick up the heat a little bit, you could add a little bit of the Scotch bonnet. If you can't find Scotch bonnet, which is really the most used in Caribbean cuisine, substitute a habanero. Yeah, we're kicking it up with the capsaicin, and that again is going to absolutely create some great blood flow. It's going to open up the vascular system. Now, capsaicin is also used in the prevention and treatment of arthritis. I'm sure you've seen the capsaicin ointment in your drugstore, and that's all it is just chili oil. So we're getting some of that good capsaicin that will open everything up. All right, we're looking nice and pink, and we've got a beautiful crust here. I think our shrimp's almost ready. Now let's go ahead and just turn this over and see how we're doing. All right, looking really good, smelling really good. All right, chefs, it looks like our shrimp is done. We've got that beautiful pink color, and remember that shows us about the astaxanthin, that very powerful antioxidant that's going to help whisk away any toxins from our body. We're going to go ahead and kill the fire now, and let's just put the shrimp on a nice looking plate. Oh boy, nice crust on that shrimp, still moist and juicy. Boy, I'm having a hard time today grabbing these shrimp. And there's our little tail, so I'll use that natural handle. You can see how the dry rub has crisped up and really made that nice spicy crust on the shrimp. I'm sure anyone would love to have the shrimp with the nice spicy chow chow. It's a dish that's both beautiful, enticing, aromatic, and highly nutritious. Well, we'll be right back with a strawberry jalapeno lemonade. You heard me right, strawberry jalapeno. I'll see you in a minute. All right, and we're back to make a scrumptious strawberry jalapeno lemonade. Yep, you heard me right, strawberry jalapeno. Spicy is in, and boy, is it some great medicine. So what I've got going here already started is some of the natural vegan sugar that we talked about before, some water, and it's really just equal parts. What we're making is called a simple syrup, and it's just hummingbird food, basically, just dissolving the sugar in the water. Now, this simple syrup we're going to infuse with jalapeno. So I've sliced up a really nice spicy jalapeno, really loaded with vitamin C and capsaicin, which we talked about with our jerk shrimp. The capsaicin opens up the joints and helps us to increase the production of synovial fluid. Synovial fluid keeps the joints moist and supple in the socket. Now, you've heard me say it a million times, chefs, if you want to not age, stay moist and supple. And here in the Ageless Kitchen, that's our goal, is to age, but do it gracefully. All right, so our simple syrup's cooking away. Our sugar's dissolved. I've got it up to a boil here, chefs, because I really want to extract all of that great capsaicin and all of the spicy flavor of the jalapenos. Also, we're candying the jalapeno rings, and that's going to act as our garnish for our beautiful strawberry lemonade. So all you need is a ready-made lemonade if you don't want to squeeze fresh lemons, but here we try to do everything fresh for you. So I've got some fresh squeezed lemon juice, and that's very high in bioflavonoids, which are very youth-giving. We're just going to put that lemon juice in. You could do a limeade as well if you like limes, and that would go beautifully with our Caribbean theme today. Let's go ahead and just move this aside. We've got these working over here, and they're looking kind of glossy, which is what we want for our garnish. All right, we'll give those just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and put some strawberries in, but you could do any fruit that you like. Mangoes would be beautiful here as well. So I've got some organic frozen strawberries, and they're going all over the place, but that's okay. It's fun to be messy in the kitchen, isn't it, chefs? All right, so I've got some strawberries in there. Now, strawberries, again, vitamin C, but this is really great skincare as well. Something very powerful in the strawberries, ellagic acid. Now, ellagic acid is one of our most powerful weapons against cancer, and the researchers really say that the strawberry and the raspberry are our two biggest components with the ellagic acid. All right, we've got this to a boil. I'm going to kill the fire now. And you can see that the jalapenos are really glossy. Don't breathe that air in, chefs. That's really potent stuff. Let's go ahead and take our jalapenos out. You can see that they're soft, but they still have their gorgeous color. So I'm just going to take that out of our hummingbird food or our simple syrup. And those are going to make a beautiful garnish for our drink. Now, this is a little bit hot. Normally, we would let it cool down a little bit, but we're just going to go ahead and work with it. So be careful as you add it in. and it's going to be as sweet as you like it to be. I'm going to put in maybe a quarter of a cup or so. Let's leave that there. Now remember, if we're blending anything that has any heat to it, we want to vent the top. So I'm just going to tip that. Start your blender on low, always, chefs, to protect yourself. Let's go ahead and bring that up. Looking beautiful. Now I like a little bit of texture as always, so I'm not going to blend it all the way. Let's leave some of the chunky strawberry there. We're going to sip out of a margarita glass, so that will be perfect. All right, so nothing better on a hot day, but since this has got the jalapenos in it, I think it's going to warm us up just fine. Isn't that beautiful? And let's garnish that with our candied jalapenos. So I'm just going to float a couple of those in. You could hang one on the edge if you wanted. And we're all set with limonene, bioflavonoids, ellagic acid, capsaicin, who knew, all in this gorgeous lemonade. We'll be back in just a few minutes. I'm going to get this all cleaned up and we're ready to take it to the plate, chefs. I'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back. It's time to take it to the plate, chefs, but we've got one more step to do to complete our dish here. Now, the Chow Chow has already been sitting in its beautiful dressing. Again, more of an ice water situation here, a non-mayonnaise coleslaw, which is really kind of nice and different for a change. So I'm going to go ahead and strain this out. I've just taken a china cap. Whatever strainer or colander you have is going to be fine. I'm just going to put that in a large bowl, and we're just going to pour that right in, and then we can just get rid of this. And we'll just strain that out. Let me grab my tongs. I'm in such the habit of using my hands. What's a better tool? All right, so I'm just going to push that extra liquid out just a little bit. Don't push too much. We just want to get the majority of the liquid out. All right, so we'll get rid of that. Let's go ahead and just put this down here, and we'll move it over here. All right, let's take our Chow Chow out and put it in the bowl. Uh-oh, I'm making a mess here. Yikes, that's okay. It cleans. There we go. All right, how does that look? Okay, so we've drained off the excess dressing out of our Chow Chow, and we're just going to make a nice, big, beautiful pile in our service bowl. We'll take that to the side here and get rid of that. All right, so you can see the beautiful color that the Chow Chow has taken on from the turmeric. And remember, turmeric says it all. Tumors, ick. Turmeric, one of the best weapons we know against tumors growing in our body. We've got all kinds of beautiful color here with our purple onion, our red bell pepper, but of course you could add corn, you could add any kind of vegetable that you like to the Chow Chow. Really put your own spin on it, chefs, and make it your own family tradition. This is ready to go. We've got our candied jalapenos, which would be a beautiful garnish on your plate. You could even put a few around your Chow Chow if you wanted. Now, the candied jalapenos would be a great garnish on any of these dishes, or they're really tasty on their own. Remember that the vitamin C here is very powerful, as well as the capsaicin, helping to keep our joints moist and lubricated. We've got our jerk spice that we made our own dry rub, and I'm sure you'll agree it's really delicious. So make a big batch and keep the jar in your pantry, and that way you've got your jerk spice ready to go. This is beautiful on chicken, pork, a tofu steak, whatever way you see fit. I'm sure you'll agree that this menu is pleasing to the eye as well as the palate. We've got a little bit of spice, and remember, the word chef really just means chief. So now you're the chief in your kitchen. You'll control the recipe and the heat depending on how frisky you're feeling. Well, that's it from Tina's Ageless Kitchen. I'm Chef Tina Martini. Here's to your health.